Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Robin, and today I want to talk about how to apply foundation with a sponge. Previously, I already uploaded a video about how to apply foundation with a brush. The thing I'm going to touch on is about the choice of sponges. And before I begin, you can always hit subscribe below and you can hit the likes as well. It's very much helpful for me, but I won't force you to do so. So I'll be very appreciated if you hit the subscribe button, but I won't force you anyway. So let's start. The first step is I'm gonna start with a primer, and I'm gonna use UV base. We're just gonna warm up the product. So the reason why you need to use a primer or makeup base is to enhance your makeup adherence. In addition, it also addresses your skin concern and your needs. If your skin is more to dry side, then you can always go for hydrating primer. If your skin is more to the oily side, then you can always go for mattifying primer. If your skin is more dull and looks so fatigued, not so fresh, then you can always go with a tone correcting primer or a little bit of sparkle and shimmers and glitters in it. This is a primer I like to use. This is a Biore UV Watery Essence, and this is unnecessary to use this product, but this is a product I'm gonna use today. And I can already feel that my skin is a little bit sticky, and being sticky as a primer is fantastic because it really holds your makeup product for a very long time. It really improves your makeup wear. Next step, foundation. I'm going to use a foundation from Laura Mercier. This is a Flawless Fusion Ultra Long Wear Foundation, and I can see why this product is really ultra long wear, because once you apply it dries out really quick. So I'm gonna just dispense about 2 pump, and this is a sponge Pentagon Sponge from Shu Uemura. So best way to use a sponge is not to dip the product directly to the product, because the sponge will absorb all the product and it will go deeply into the sponge. It will deeply penetrate, and it's really hard to wash. It's really hard to remove. You just can't wash it. You need to replace to another one, and over you need to purchase a new sponge, while you can actually use the same sponge a little bit more longer period of time. So I'm gonna really warm up the product first. Warming up the product is always important because it activates ingredients and improves the blendability. Smooth out the foundation first with your fingertip and just roughly spread it to the skin. Doesn't have to be so perfect because anyway we're gonna blend with the foundation sponge. So once it's applied on the one side here, I'm gonna now really pat it. It still looks like new, although there's a little bit a little bit hue of foundation color here. And on the skin, the foundation applies beautifully. And not only you can actually tap it into the skin, you can actually glide it for smoothing and airbrush effect. Especially those pyramid of the face, I like to go just glide the sponge over my face, so you can really smooth it over. And if you need to, you can actually pinch your sponge like this, and you can go really detailed area such as your inner corner of the eye and your nose. And in case if you need more coverage, then you can actually use one more layer with your fingertip. And I'm just gonna gently dab it. And with my sponge, I'm gonna gently dab it again. For this instant, I'm gonna go very light hand. And this foundation is really dries quick. It just really fix on the one spot there. It literally fix one spot there. So if you don't blend it quick, it's literally just a one patch here on the face. It's gonna look like a spot on display. Literally. I have not many flaws to conceal, so I'm just gonna even out my skin tone first. But of course, you can use a beauty blender or whatever sponge you have. I won't stop you, and mostly it's the same application method. However, I always don't recommend to just dip the sponge into the product and apply. So this is the difference in the result. As you can see, the bare skin and the makeup skin, you can actually see the huge difference, and this side is one more glowy and this side is more, you know, satin global glow. You can only see this one part is glowing here, while you can see mostly, you know, diffuse light here. So this is one of the feature of using sponge, because if you use a brush, you get this kind of glow most, but if you use a sponge, you get the overall, you know, global glow on the skin. So it really depends on your preference, and if you use a sponge, it will actually provide you more higher coverage because you're literally adding one more layer on the face. So if you like to use a sponge, roughly apply with your fingertip, just smooth it over and then gently dab it into the skin for perfection. And next I'm gonna touch on is use these two different tools together with foundation brush to apply foundation, and use sponge to perfectly apply foundation and finish. So let me show you how it appears to be. For this instance, I'm gonna use Laura Mercier Silk Creme Moisturizing Photo Edition foundation, and make sure you're actually shaking well most of the foundation product, because formula are pretty, you know, separating. The formula, they separate very easily, so I always recommend you to, you know, shake the product and the bottle well, you know, dispense just a good amount. And this foundation brush is from Dior. I have not read much review about this brush, but I can really tell you that this brush is much thicker than the regular foundation brush, so it won't streak much, and you know, it's most likely, you know, minimize your pores and fill in those gaps between your, you know, surface of the skin. The result will be really beautiful. And for Dior Beauty, Dior Makeup, there's a creative director. His name is Peter Phillips, and he's my, you know, kind of my makeup idol. So this is the technique I always see from his how-to video from Dior, and he always apply foundation with a brush first, and then go on with the foundation sponge. So because of the face mask, I, you know, easily get the breakouts on my skin, especially blemishes, just on this, you know, masked area. And the best advice for blemish for the, you know, for face mask is try not to reuse your face mask, and try to keep it clean as possible. There's nothing much I can say. Okay, so foundation is done with the foundation brush. I'm gonna go with the foundation sponge. As I mentioned earlier, you can really see this, you know, highlighted glow here. It looks very dewy, and I'm gonna gently dab it with my Pentagon sponge. Okay, so can you see the difference? This side looks still a bit velvety and more matte, and while this side looks more dewy still, even after I use a sponge. So this is a difference if you use different tools. Foundation brush will give the most glow to the surface of your skin. However, the adherence is the least long-lasting. And this foundation sponge is the most long-lasting product because it really, you know, enhance and boost your makeup product adherence. However, it looks more velvety and more matte, like as you can see here now. If you use two different tools together, you can actually get this glow, and I can really feel that there's nothing much coming out to my hand, and it doesn't really sticky much, so just like the other side. So you can really, you know, feel and venture yourself using different tools. There's a huge difference. Right, and then I'm gonna go with highlighting concealer, which I'm gonna use Bourjois Air Matte foundation. For under eye concealing, use the brush that has enough size to, you know, counteract those area where you need to conceal. And the other side, I'm just going to use my fingertip and the sponge. So as you can see, I'm keep pinching the sponge like this. Keep, you know, pinching it together. So sort of, you know, there's an angle here. So I can really reach to the most corner of my face. And I've just used the same product with a different tool. You can see how much there's a difference here. I can see more matte skin here, more velvety, and it's more glowy, especially on my under eye area. Just use a concealer brush. I can really see the difference in person, but I'm not so sure if this camera can catch this or not. It's a more kind of velvety finish here, and it's more glowy finish here. So this is a difference between these two different tools. However, I like to use brushes the most because I feel sometimes sponges can't be so hygienic and it's not so clean. And honestly speaking, how often do you wash or change your foundation sponge? I don't think you'll change it pretty often, just like I do. Just like I don't even change my foundation sponge that often when I use a sponge for myself. So if possible, you can just use a foundation sponge that is, either disposable or just a cheap foundation sponge so you won't hurt so bad when you just throw it away. That's my recommendation. Especially when you purchased a beauty blender or those high-end makeup blender. You just don't want to waste your money, isn't it? I suggest you go Shu Uemura, purchase this Pentagon Sponge. It's a 4-piece in a 1 pack. It's 13 Singapore dollars, and depends on your region. It could be a little bit different in pricing. However, the pricing of this Shu Uemura sponge is pretty reasonable. And this sponge is really a cult favorite. It's a makeup artist's go-to product, especially in Korea. When I was in Korea, I still remember many of the freelance makeup artists always use this sponge. Not so sure how they are doing now. It should be different because it's already many years ago before I even come to Singapore. Okay, so skin foundation step is already done, and next step I'm going to do is a powder. Because if you don't set your foundation with a powder or dry formula, because foundation is a wet formula, you will keep move on the surface of your skin, and it will melt together with your sebum and your oils, and it also attracts those dirts and frizz on the air, which is not so hygienic for your skin. It will probably cause blemishes and irritate your skin. So I'm gonna set my skin with a very light powder, and let's see how it looks like. For powdering, I'm gonna use this Innisfree No Sebum Mineral Pact. The pricing is very affordable and the quality is very nice. It's just very light, mineral powder that just set and get rid of any of these, shines and oils, unnecessary stickiness to the skin. And I'm going to go with a powder brush, a large powder brush. And I honestly, I don't really use this mirror so often, so I just blend the powder here. You can always start from T-zone. It depends on your preference and your skin condition. If your skin is more to dry side, especially on the T-zone, then I recommend you to not start from the T-zone because it will dry out your skin so bad. And I can really see that this cheek here is glowing, like highlight. I didn't even put any highlighter on, but it still looks very glowy and dewy. So I like this glow finish, but I don't like this glow finish on the inner corner of my eye or around my nose because it looks oily most of the time. And this is a camera right now, so you can really see there's an unnecessary shine. It just looks like an oil on the face. So I'm just gonna leave this glow right here. The rest of the face, I'm gonna set it with a powder so it can really look well hydrated, well moisturized. Still looks healthy and dewy. As you get older, the glow on the skin is very crucial. It's almost like a staple for every makeup look because the moment your skin looks dry and dehydrated, it really emphasizes your lines and pores and all those aging signs, which is, I don't want to see any aging signs on my face, although I don't really have much compared to others. Okay, so this is the final look of the sponge side and the brush and sponge side, and I really can see the difference, and throughout the video I'm pretty sure you're able to picture yourself by using these two different tools and getting these two different results. And this side, as I mentioned so many times, it looks very velvety and feels velvety, but this side looks still a bit semi-matte and I really like these two different results, and it really depends on preference. If you like more a matte girl, then you should go with this matte side. If you're more of a glowy girl like me, then you should go with the glow side, which I really like the most. As I did a powdering earlier, you can really powder the entire face. You can really leave a little bit of glow on your cheekbone here, so your skin looks very well hydrated and well moisturized. I hope this video was helpful, and if you have any feedback or comment, you can leave me any comments down below. So I really wish, again, this video was helpful and addresses your concerns. So I'll see you soon with another tutorial. Bye!